गए उस दिन हमारी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. What tricky topic is, good topic. I appreciate the organizer for choosing a good topic, even and with the current affairs. And I have been told to talk about home visit and the precautions. The first thing which came in my mind when I read the topic and discussed with my friends, okay, how many doctors do home visit? The percentage. And are they willing to go for home visit? And the most important question which is definitely an issue, is what for they have been called for home visit. You will agree with me, in majority of cases, if you see the percentage wise, you are called always to certify the death, not to treat the patient. I don't know majority. I don't say that because being a human, people understand. If patient is alive, they will definitely rush to the hospital or doctor. Not rush to the doctor and call them and waste the time. But the moment they find the halchal band hai, and they are intelligent people, they know that they are going to get troubled for the search of a death certificate. So they definitely take a chance by guided by some intelligent people, and you have been called for home visit. Before going for the precaution, let me share a few cases, live cases, which came across during my medical law practices about the home visits. One case came, it was related to general practice. I have been told that there are few general practitioners also, so I'll take few cases related to general practitioners, and they are the first people who will call for the home. Normally, instead of consultant, they are the first people. This is the incidence where this is the leading practitioner who was available on Sunday. Being many of the doctors close in vicinity, in Pahad area, this like hill area, a few relative of the patient rushed to his clinic. कि सर urgent चलो, माँ की कुछ तबीयत खराब है. He was having a good number of patients in his clinic, so he politely refused. He said कि भाई ऊपर मैं आऊँगा, मैं अगर एग्जामिन भी करूँगा, मेजॉरिटी टाइम मेरे पास ऐसा कुछ नहीं कि मैं वहाँ स्पॉट पे ट्रीटमेंट दूँ, बिकॉज अगर आप इमरजेंसी वर्ड यूज कर रहे हो तो डेफिनेटली क्रिटिकलिटी होगी. तो मेरा जो भी इंस्ट्रूमेंट है, जो भी चीजें हैं, दैट इज इन माय क्लिनिक. ऑल इमरजेंसी ड्रग्स आर इन माय क्लिनिक, ऑल फैसिलिटीज इज इन माय क्लिनिक, एंड अदरवाइज आल्सो दिस इज ओनली अ रूट. So even if I refer a patient to any of the hospital, you are going to go by this route only. So why don't you immediately take a patient, I'll examine if it can be treated here, I'll do a justice with the patient. If not, at least from here you can rush to the hospital. It's justifiable. It is justifiable. Instead of going and bringing a patient, these patients have called few of their friends. Local I will not come politician, but local gundas and local people who want to expose themselves to the media by doing some of that. Because they are least interested in the patient, because the only close relative of the patient is related or rather interested in a doctor. But the neighbors are not interested in the patient. Do you think they are interested? They are more interested in highlighting themselves. And majority of time, if at all doctor need to be called, it is accompanied by the neighbors and other local people, not immediate relative of the patient. Because otherwise, immediate relative will rush a patient to the hospital. Your and mine. And what they called an beaten doctor blue and black. It is life said. We have filed a complaint. But now the scenario, see, the question comes, can you refuse home visit? And if need, how? Because Such a situation can happen to any of the doctor at any moment. But yes, law says that you have got all the right to refuse a patient, even home visit. When law says not an emergency, it is very difficult to comment about emergency word. Simple abdominal pain can also be an emergency. Simple toothache can also be emergency. So emergency cannot be defined. But yes, you need to. You need to. Now the scenario changed, and I appreciate the organizer for choosing the topic. Why I say scenario changed? Because we are in a very growing stage, and today you'll agree with me, lots of home care hospitals, home care organization, home care institution is already in. Like making a hospital at home, like Care 24, Your Care, Doctor Care. Lots of organization has been developed, and financially people are sound nowadays, so they don't want to admit their patient to the hospital, rather they wish that my patient to be treated at home. In that, there is a two category of the patient. One is a normal category, or second is a category of a nursing care, like paralyzed patient or lots of long care patient. In such a cases, again you have been called for home visit, even a consultant, because these people have tied up with the various doctors. They are giving every facilities at home, right from today I have heard ventilator also, BiPAP also, oxygen also, everything has been organized, but they don't have a medical practitioner. So they are in tie-up with various consultant and a general practitioner, you be one of them, I don't know. And in any given situation, you get a call and you may need to visit. My friend, in such a cases also, since the legal responsibility is yours, you have to be careful, because you are bounded by the contract. Probably this organization may have some contract with you and you are going to visit, and then whatever happens there, you are rightly, equally responsible. You cannot take a defense because I heard in the morning ignorance of law is no excuse. So you are equally responsible, even if at all there is a shortage of the instruments also. Instrument is supplied by some people, paramedics are supplied by some people, but you have been as visiting, and at that particular time you don't know it is a bronchospasm, it is what, and there is oxygen finished, paramedic are not knowing, some injection was given, caused anaphylactic, and you be called, you don't know the situation. But the moment you visit, you become responsible for that. Another case came where a patient came to this particular doctor. Again, it was a general practitioner case. The wife was brought around late evening. Patient was vomiting, headache, other sort of issues. Doctor has given, as usual, antiemetic drug, other drug and all. And immediately advised if needed SOS hospitalization, she went home. Around night 3 o'clock, doctor got a call. The home visit is at wee hours only. Majority of home visits are wee hours, but we are not in practicing hours. And when this doctor rushed there, naturally, there is two reasons. One, he has treated the patient. Secondly, being general practitioner to the old relation, he found patient was already dead. Young female, 25 years. No simple history of vomiting, headache, another. In a rush hours, she was brought, not maybe probably taken a history in a question. And naturally, as I shared with you, majority of time it is for death certificate. And naturally, when she died, it was forced on doctor by the relatives, co-colleagues, other people. कि सर certify कर दो अभी, हो तो गया है, and we are accepting it. Doctor भी खुश, क्योंकि उसके मन में भी डर कि मैंने परिणाम दिया था, मैंने उसको टैबलेट दिया था, कहीं ना कहीं उसके मन में भी डर था कि सडन डेथ हुआ है. सो यू आर ऑल्सो वांटेड टू फाइंड अदर थिंग्स. कॉल आया मेरे को, आई सेड कि भाई मैरिड है, यंग मैरिड है, कॉज ऑफ डेथ तुमको पता नहीं है. टुमारो इफ पेरेंट ऑफ दैट फीमेल कम्स एंड इशू एनी क्वेश्चन, what are you going to do? My suggestion is not to indulge. And touch wood, the same thing has happened. Till afternoon 2 o'clock, there was a negotiation going between doctors and relatives for DC. He was willing to give a DC. Everything was done, but parent came, they filed, and later turned out to be unnatural death because husband wife में कुछ fight हुआ था. Husband ने banged her head multiple times on the wall. There was no external injury. आपको कैसे पता चलेगा क्या हुआ? Are you understanding? Another doctor called by local people की सर खूप weakness आहे जरा बघून घ्या patient ला. My doctor happily gone there without knowing the history of LVF and other things. Just had a history की fever 2 दिवसात होता, कमजोरी आहे, put a glucose. See, there is something where definitely we are also interested की चला बाबा 2 बाटली लावली 400-500 तरी एक बना. And he came back around when second bottle was almost due of finishing. He got a call की सर लवकर या कसं तरी करत आहेत, श्वास जोरात चालू आहे. And डॉक्टर का श्वास बंद. He rushed and he was perspiring because actually there was a gas condition of the gas tank. By the time he calls ambulance, he was knowing that vitals are not there, patient is already dead. Put in ambulance, was crying and called me, sir, now what? My friends, home visits very common, but my answer to the precaution word, where it is many of the time is not possible for you to avoid, but first and foremost thing, my advice, that try to convince the patient to bring patient to your clinic, because you have all facilities there. Even if at all you want to do something, you can do at clinic level, not at home level. When it is a home visit, I'll give example of latest case which I was sharing morning. Well, paper highlighted case of denomination of Sheetal Kamath, the gynecologist, if you have seen in newspaper last month. I handled that case and doctor was not arrested. Touch it, because law was good. Earlier, if you heard Dr. Sudhakar Shinde, who very clearly pointed out how many people have understand it or not, that you should always have a legal remedies. Even my other speakers has talked about medical legal experts and legal experts, because there are beautiful laws which is still very favorable for the doctors, but we don't go for the remedies. And you are not being guided properly by many of the advocates. And reason behind that, advocates are not versed with medical law. And I say with a conviction, because after 10 years, if I go to any gynecologist and show a ECG, sir, can you read? Madam, can you read? So 10 years you are practicing as a gynac. During MBBS time, what you have read is already washed up. Whatever we studied in first year, we lose in second year. By the time we complete our graduation, we forget everything. What we learn as a practical is remain here, not a theory. So same happens with advocates. They are well versed with all rape, murder and other cases, because medical cases hardly comes to them. So when medical cases doesn't come to them, you cannot expect them to have a huge knowledge of a law which is more than a medical science, to remember every act. So you are not well versed with the medical law. So advocates, since they are not well versed with the law, they are not going to guide you in proper way. And that's the reason why remedies are not known to you. So in Sheetal Kamath's case, same thing happened, where this patient was on ANC registration with the doctor. 2 days back when she came, sonography report was done. She had advised कि भाई 9th month चालू है, internal examination में softness दिख रहा है यूट्रस का, chances of any delivery कभी भी open होगा, you should be ready. बच्चे का वजन सिर्फ 1.5 किलो है, you should be ready for NICU. This was categorically sent, told by the gynecologist, documented. And next day morning or second day morning, she has started getting a pain and vomiting, and they wanted the doctor should visit. घर पे जाके आप डिलीवरी करोगे क्या? Morning 7 o'clock she got a call, and she's got all recordings and every, because I have had it, so I know. And she politely said कि भाई मैंने already समझाया, why don't you rush to the hospital? I'll come to, even in morning I'll come to the hospital because I am responsible. You take it to the hospital. नहीं, उनका अपना होम रेमेडीज चालू था. Another 1 घंटे के बाद, पौना 1 घंटे 1.5 घंटे के बाद, again they got a call. मैडम got a call saying that कि बाथरूम में डिलीवरी हो गई. And now they expecting doctor to come there. आप होम विजिट करोगे? And this again she said कि भाई सब कुछ उधर है, तुम भाग के लेके आओ. I am rushing there. And she reached. उसका रेट, उसका main concern was a female because she is a gynecologist, not a pediatrician. She has got her limitation. So she has done all the things which needed to visit the mother, removed all the cloths and all, placenta was taken, bachchu was removed, bachchu was good. She said me कि sir ऐसा कोई chance नहीं था, only low weight था. I told her take it to an ICU because मेरे पास facility नहीं है. हाँ, if you want the mother to be treated, तो जो normal खर्चा आएगा, since delivery घर पे हो गई है, you admit and I'll see that. But my advice that mother and child should be together, so we take to government hospital. Nothing wrong with the gynecologist. And again, instead of taking to the hospital, they have taken to home and then went to hospital run by local general practitioner. Taken a normal treatment for 2 days. Do you expect 1.5 किलो का बच्चा 2 दिन तक लोकल में जाके ट्रीट कर रहा है and expecting that अच्छा बच्चों भी सर्वाइव होगा? And till the time बच्चों become critical, they have not gone to pediatrician. And when they have gone to pediatrician, it was already gone case. And फिर कलर किसका दिया? Hot issue, denomination. My friend, होम विजिट के लिए प्रिकॉशन 2-3 खाली पॉइंट बोलूंगा. आई एम सॉरी, टाइम रनिंग फास्ट. लेकिन 2-3 चीज की इन केस आपको जाना पड़े, आप किसी भी प्रॉक्टर केयर या किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूट से जुड़े हो, या आप खुद भी आपको बुलाया जाए, और यू आर अ जीपी और कंसल्टेंट इन ऑल द सेक्शन, ऑलवेज इफ यू आर गोइंग टू होम विजिट equipped with emergency drugs. You don't know what type of patient you are going to face. Maybe a gastrin patient where you need to give a proper recitation at particular moment and particular time, because being a doctor you are expected to do. Law is going to support you if you do that, because you are meant to give a life, not to take a life. So if you have got knowledge, law says Supreme Court judgment objective value and multiple judgment thereafter says facility available at that particular time at that particular place, and the facility available with you with emergency tray, whatever. I am not saying that take oxygen, take suction machine, take everywhere, no, but at least basic documentation. Yes, basic documentation there is going to be your referring letter more of the time, because you are going to call a patient. If you want to refer, it should mention everything properly while referring a patient with details of your history, examination, treatment given, and your expectation. Third, it is mandate on you. I am using word. It is a mandate. Mandate means mandatory, legal mandation on you to hand over to some other doctor. Means you have to accompany a patient to the hospital. That is what law expects. Because due care word, which has been bombarded by all Supreme Court judgment, have got inherent meaning due care, that till the time you hand over a responsibility to some other doctor, your responsibility does not get over. So if you are a home visit, it is your responsibility to admit a patient to some place, and then you are free from all liabilities. So referring notes, sir, accompanying a patient, having an emergency tray, having a generalized facility must be with you, and naturally your bag should contain your referring note, your letterhead, stamps and everything. So you should make a home visit pack ready if you are always or frequently. But again, the first and last precaution, try to avoid. With this, I really thank you. And there, you can ask me any question you need to. Thank you very much.